Hello, my name is Mark and this is my life story and how I came to know Jesus Christ, the King of the universe. From riches to rags and then back to riches of a different kind. After moving from Somerset as a small child, I grew up in Scunthorpe. Life seemed quite wholesome and I had a good relationship with my parents. Later we moved to Leeds and my dad became very successful in a new role as company director. However, despite the fact that we were very wealthy, life at home was not so good. My relationship with my dad deteriorated as he was absent for much of the time. Other things in life began to slip and I was not doing very well at school either. As I grew into my teens, I became very rebellious and got involved in the heavy metal scene. Outwardly, I looked like I didn't care, but inwardly I was hurting. I often felt lonely, not having many real friends, and sadly one friend I did have died of cancer at a young age. My dad's wealth increased. He became a multi-millionaire and I even began to work for him. However, the bubble burst. His company went bankrupt and he lost everything. Our family was devastated. Other things began to spiral out of control in our family as it came to light that my dad had another woman and had children to her. Our home being lost, I had to move out and face the world at the age of 21, quite unprepared, having gone quite literally from riches to rags in a very short space of time. I found myself in a crumbly bedsit with a flatmate who was violent and abusive. After one particular violent outburst, I quickly packed a few belongings and took a coach back to Somerset. After arriving there, I was unable to find a place to stay and ended up homeless. Sleeping rough on the streets, I would beg for money during the days and in the evenings drink as much cider as I could to help me sleep through the cold nights. One Sunday I decided to go to a church thinking that I might find some help. The church I went to was called Mount Zion in Taunton, Somerset. It was there that I came into contact with the real gospel for the first time ever. I heard that God loved me and wanted to help me, that he had sent his son Jesus into the world, that he had died on the cross to pay for my debt of sin. I heard that Jesus rose again from the dead and now lives forevermore, and that if I put my trust in him, he would change my life and give me everlasting life. This was different from the dead traditional style of church that I had experienced when growing up. When the service ended, people were very friendly and helpful towards me. A member of the church even gave me some short-term accommodation. Then they put me in touch with a Christian hostel in Leeds called Caring for Life. Caring for Life really helped me get back on my feet. I saw in the staff the love of Jesus being practically lived out there. But somehow I was still not ready to give my life to Jesus. I moved out of the hostel and slipped back into my old lifestyle of biker rallies, girls, drunkenness, etc. Having had an interest in photography from a young age, I enrolled on a photography course in 2001 at a local college. One particular week the tutor asked students to bring something in that had meaning to them and give a quick presentation about it. I took an old camera passed down from my dad and shared about it, and others in the group shared about their hobbies and interests. But a student called Jason really stood out. He brought his Bible and shared about Jesus. I spoke to him after class and found him really friendly and genuine. He then invited me to an event at his church where the guest speaker was appearing. The guest speaker was Bobby Ball, formerly a comedian from the 1980s comic duo Cannon and Ball. I found him very interesting to listen to, and he was still funny. And yet he had a very real message to tell of how he came into a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ. A few weeks later, I was walking through Leeds city centre and was curious to see crowds of people gathered around shop windows. Staring at TV screens, I was even more struck to see people visibly upset and crying. I looked at the screen, seeing on first impression looked like a good disaster movie. A few streets away, the same scene being repeated.
This is as close as we can get to the
with some crowds gathered around to look at TV sets in shop windows. Then the horror of it all sunk in and the penny dropped. This was real. Seeing the awful events happening on 9/11, Tuesday 11th of September 2001, jolted me out of my sleepy conscience, awakening me to the reality I knew in myself that I was unprepared to face God in eternity. I immediately sought to connect with Jason from college, and when I got to see him, he arranged for me to meet with a man called Ian from his church. Both Ian and Jason shared clearly with me what it means to be a Christian, and I decided to give my life 100% to Jesus Christ. I now know what it really means to be in a relationship with God. It was like coming home and arriving after a long journey, and yet, in a funny way, a whole new journey had begun. God began to heal my heart from the wounds of my past as I came to know him as my Father. Soon after becoming a Christian, I decided to get baptized in water by full immersion. It was the most wonderful experience of my life. When I came up out of the water, I had the sense of being wrapped up in the love of God with his arms around me. Now, several years on from becoming a Christian, I am seeking to help others come to know Christ. I am very thankful for the many blessings he has brought into my life and the good friends he has given me. I am part of a really great church congregation that is relaxed, friendly and totally informal and non-religious.